you can demand a higher price. If you have a massive problem or any problem and you can solve it faster and better, people are going to pay you for that, and they'll pay you a premium. Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso, and my experience is in scaling all types of medical businesses to 7, 8, and 9 figures. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. I'm just telling you how I did this, and I hope that helps you in your business, your life, and becoming a better leader at home and at work. And we're going to get right into it today, guys. Sorry, Amanda, what are those? What are those? Like, oh my, the kids all say this, right? What are those when they look at your shoes?
My shoes.
And for those that don't know, I'm going to paint you a picture. I saw men's shoes. I think they're Cole Haans. I don't know.
They
in the
are.
corner of
You
my room. And I was like,
exactly.
those aren't my shoes. Whose shoes are those?
Those aren't men's.
Those
Yeah,
are Cole
them in
Haans,
the-
right?
yeah.
Those are definitely men's shoes.
I got them in the women's section
Then
at Nordstrom.
I have been wearing women's shoes for years.
Well, I got white ones too, so I have 2 pairs.
You got white ones like those? I
Uh-huh.
can never do white shoes. I can't. Like,
The
they get
reason-
destroyed.
Well, I like that fabric because you can spray them and then stick them in actually stick them in the washing machine on a hot cycle, and they come out pure white again. I've had the
Ooh.
same white shoes for years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it does work, but those are women's shoes. for
I don't know
sure.
about that.
I don't know. Maybe you just need to see the front of them.
I thought they were just my shoes.
You don't like my loafers either.
Well, your
Wait till
loafers really, they're just
can
not,
understand
yeah,
those.
they're just not attractive. Those are like, yeah, those are just straight up clogs.
I bought
Like-
some other loafers too. I almost wore them just to show you with my brown shirt because you said I'd
Yeah,
look like
yeah,
a
yeah.
turd.
They were
So
look
I'm gonna
like,
wear a brown shirt and loafers.
yeah,
next
you just
time.
look like a turd with shoes that are made out of one giant piece of leather. I feel like carved.
Then we'll take a vote.
Right, exactly. Okay, so moving on. Your grandmother's 90th birthday is today, right?
Today,
Okay.
yes.
Tell
Yeah,
me about
so
this.
I called her this morning on the way here,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "Happy birthday," and she said, "Well, I don't feel 90."
That was her
reply.
response.
Yeah. I was like, "Well, that's great. Well, happy birthday anyway,
Yeah.
whether you feel 90 or not. How
Yeah.
old do you feel?" She said, "I feel 60. Okay, maybe 70, but definitely not 90." I was like, "You go, you." So we're having a surprise birthday party for her on Saturday. So I'm flying to Ohio just for a few days to surprise her. And my sister planned for her to have Sunday off work because she's going to want to say goodbye to everybody, as people are flying back out of town. And she went into work and like raised hell. She's like, "Why am I not working Sunday? I want to work Sunday." And they're like, "We don't really know what to tell you. Like, we can't tell you why you're not working Sunday,
Mhm.
but you can't work on Sunday.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we don't have a shift for you." But she's out spending money today, and that's her birthday.
What does she spend her money on, like a 90-year-old?
Oh, well, she has a love for very expensive jewelry. Like,
Really?
yeah, like she just bought $10,000 pink diamond earrings,
It's amazing. Well,
and is still going shopping.
I feel like
today.
a 90-year-old woman, though, buys either from like the Home Shopping Network or
Oh, not my grandma.
Walmart. Like, where does she buy
No.
that high-end jewelry? Is she just going to a jeweler, like
Well,
her jeweler that she
uh-huh.
knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a jeweler in Pennsylvania that because my whole family is from State College area,
Okay.
so we've got a lot of alumni from Penn State.
Okay.
My
Wait, so she drives from Ohio to Penn State
yeah,
to like
yeah,
Penn State
yeah,
area?
that's where my all
How
my
far is that drive? I
about
don't know
4 hours.
anything about geography.
4 hours.
4
It's not
hours?
bad.
Holy shit. So
Yeah.
she's driving out there today?
No,
Or-
no. They're
Okay.
going shopping.
Oh,
In
right.
town. My sister is taking her shopping in town. But yeah, she drives out to Pennsylvania.
Holy
often.
crap. So
Yeah.
watch out, streets of freaking Pennsylvania and
Oh,
Ohio.
yeah.
You got a fucking 90-year-old lady driving around.
She had to go through like testing,
Yeah.
her eyes and ears and all of that
Yeah, yeah,
stuff
yeah.
to make sure she could keep her license.
Yeah.
And she was not too happy because they told her she wasn't allowed to drive at night anymore. Like she's at the age
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like now.
So
you
they
should
told
not-
her, no, you can't drive.
So now if it's getting even close to like dusk, she's like, "Somebody's driving me home." It's
So
cute.
she drives during the day, but they
Yeah.
won't let her drive at night.
Yeah,
How the hell
yeah.
what do you put that on your license? Like
yeah.
not allowed to drive at night? It says
Yeah,
that?
I don't know
What's
what
it say?
it's like a class or something.
Okay.
I think like,
Yeah.
you have to have
Class blind at night?
yeah, something like that. So the other funny thing I'll say is
What the hell? Okay, what do they do? What do they do? Like they catch her out at like 10:30, Granny's sitting there. Like, what do
I'm
they
not
do to her?
sure.
They fucking throw her in the slammer? Like, you're not
Well,
supposed to be driving after 7 p.m. It says here on your
yeah.
class.
I mean, they might take her
I
car.
really
They
need to
might.
Google that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
don't know, but she's pretty cautious
She's
about
driving
it because
like,
she doesn't want to lose her license
yeah,
altogether.
she's
'cause
driving like
she's still
106 miles an hour because at like 6:52, because at 6:54 the
Yeah,
sun goes
she's.
down.
I actually that does sound like something she would do. But so I will say this. This is funny too. She's getting her first tattoo this weekend.
Oh shit.
She is.
That's got to be really
Yeah.
freaking difficult for a
So
tattoo artist, right?
so here's
Because
no,
you're a tattoo
actually,
artist, aren't
older
you?
the older people are, the less pain they experience.
Right, but the skin and the turgor and the
Yeah, you'd
ink
have
is probably harder, right?
Yeah.
To
It's gonna be a tiny tattoo on her wrist.
okay.
It's of a margarita glass.
Oh shit, that's
'Cause
freaking awesome.
Okay, my grandma, if you're having a party, she's gonna show up with margaritas. Like she brings the pre-mixed margaritas. And so she said she's gonna tell everybody that my sister got her drunk and that's why they went and got tattoos.
That's freaking
Now
awesome.
you see where I get my spunk.
There you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
runs in the family.
Yeah, she's fiery.
She
That's
is.
freaking awesome. And he got great genetics too. I don't think anybody my grandfather was the first one to actually live past like 62, I believe, 62, 63.
Mhm.
So after that, he was just like, I'm on borrowed time. And so it kind of sucks because the rest of us are like, fuck, it's not that's like 25 years away. We're
Yeah,
we're
it's
kind
not
of
that
screwed
long.
here.
Yeah,
So
I have a long life ahead of me.
that's
My
freaking
great
awesome.
grandmother was like 96 or 97 when she passed.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I have another grandmother
Mm-hmm.
that's alive, and she's, I think, 88.
Wow.
So all the women in my family, and they all are
Yeah.
super busy and working. Like my 88-year-old grandmother was just outside painting her mailbox.
Yeah.
And my aunt's like, I'm not going to go paint your mailbox. It doesn't need painted. She's like, fine, I'll do it by myself.
Mhm.
So then she waited till my aunt left and even climbed the tree to like cut the branches away from the mailbox because it was newly painted and, she wanted to be able to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
So she waited till she was alone to climb a tree to cut the branches at 88. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty
That's
fantastic.
a whole family of rebels.
Yeah.
That's freaking killer.
So long live the women.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. This podcast is going on for another 60 years.
That's
you
why,
better
guys.
make it.
Yeah, yeah. You'll be doing it 20 years beyond my death. That's for damn sure. Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into this. What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about something that I think is very common in all entrepreneurs, and that's how you feel confident asking customers to pay higher prices. And really, it's not just in the medical space. It's really anxiety with people overall, feeling like, how do you get people to pay for luxury products and services that are higher priced, especially in like a service industry where it's not like a handbag, that they're buying. But how do you get that confidence for people to actually want to pay those higher prices and feel good about it? So my first thought is, what do we feel like is the most common struggle when it comes to asking somebody to pay a higher price point?
Well, I think a lot of it is really the anxiety. People think with their own wallets, not with everybody else's wallets. And I used to have this at the very beginning when we started Genesis Lifestyle Medicine. It was actually known as CellSpark, and CellSpark was a stem cell company. And our packages started at like $7,500 because the cost of goods was really expensive. Stem cells were really expensive. And it also required a high level of expertise. So we had to have packages that were like $7,500, $15,000, $20,000. And I couldn't afford that myself. So you start to get in your own feelings and your own anxiety thinking, oh, if I can't afford this, like I'm not going to ask them to afford it. That's ridiculous. That's expensive. So your own feelings about what's affordable or not starts to even subconsciously get pushed onto your clients and the people that are walking into your business, because most people are really anxious about asking for people to pay a lot of money for their products. Because again, we come from a medical field world. The medical field is used to doing everything, quote unquote, for free, which means you just work for somebody else. You work for a hospital system, an urgent care system, a primary care physician's office, and you get paid a W-2, But heaven forbid you ask for something yourself, direct cash pay or anything like that, oh, straight to hell.
Mm.
And there's so many rules about owning a medical business and corporate practice of medicine laws and different ways you have to structure a business to be legally compliant that they do really make it difficult in order for you to build your own business or figure out how to build your own business in the medical field. And one of the things I remember going through medical school, going through residency, was they talked about Stark laws and anti-kickback laws. And those are all laws put in place where physicians and nurse practitioners or providers in general cannot get paid directly for their services in terms of a tit for tat. Like, I'll do this, I'll prescribe this medication if I get money back for it, or I'll suggest this if I get money back for it, which to a degree I understand. They want people to be impartial in the medical field and go based off of data. But a lot of times, as we've seen more recently in the years past, especially with COVID and all the shit that came out, a lot of the science is actually doctored or funded by big pharma or these companies that want you to use their drugs. So it's like, of course, I'm going to write a paper and publish a paper that my drug is the absolute best thing out there if I've got hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to do that and sway public opinion and physicians' opinion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you go back to the original, statins, the study was not only very short, but what the company actually did was get all of the world-renowned cardiologists and national cardiologists into one room and essentially gave them profit sharing and told them, if you prescribe these statins, you're going to get profit sharing. And that's why all of a sudden it became, American Heart Association, American Cardiology Association, all these things were pushed like statins. Obviously, all these doctors at the beginning were getting paid for that. And that's a recurring theme in a lot of, medicine. But then obviously it's changed more recently in the past, 20, 30 years where they've really cracked down on it, not allowing physicians, not allowing nurse practitioners or anybody really to make any money out of it. But guess what? They all work for massive corporations or hospitals or urgent cares or primary care doctors where those people are making the money off of you working. And they don't have any profit sharing or bonuses or anything like that. And so they really discourage you going out and asking for money. And even when you do break out of that and you start to ask for money, you really still always have that thought in the back of your head, I shouldn't be asking for this much money. I shouldn't be doing this. So a lot of times we'll take the providers out of the sales cycle because of that feeling of, you just want to be a provider. That's fine. Just be a provider. We'll take you out of the sales cycle. You just figure out whether the patient qualifies or not for their care. If they do, great, pass it on to somebody else who can close that deal. And even on the closing side of things, though, people are inherently good. They don't want to ask for money. They don't want to let their customer down by having a product that is outside of their own ability to pay for that. So a lot of times people have difficulty asking for money.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe it's a little bit of wondering if they're going to be able to deliver the service in a way that's going to produce the results the person is expecting as well?
I think it's partially that. That's why we always in Genesis encourage all of our staff members as well to either try or be on the medications or the treatments that we're doing if they qualify for it. Obviously, we're not putting everybody on it, but if they qualify for the medication, if they qualify for the treatment, you should be doing it 100%. And we have our pricing at cost to be able to do those things or give away awards if they want treatments and things like that, because you want to go through the experience of what your client's going to go through. Brent and I, as owners, we still experiment on ourselves with if we're going to roll out a new medication or a new supplement or anything that's new in our company, we do it ourselves first. And we see, does this work? Does this have side effects? And sometimes it fucking sucks because we're like in bed for a day or we feel like crap. It's like, dude, that is the worst. We need to change like the dosing or we need to figure something else out so that we know what the client's going through, and it should be the same with your team. Like, they should experience it, they should live it and breathe it, they should be fit, they should be on hormone therapy, they should try the M sculpt, they should look how these people want to look when they come in, have very subtle, Botox and fillers done that's very tasteful, those types of things, so that they can speak to it. Because if, like you said, if they don't believe it, they're gonna have a really hard time selling it. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was 16 years old, man, I got a summer job selling rainbow vacuums. And there were these freaking $5,000 vacuums. It was like the Antichrist to Kirby vacuums. They were like the two opposite ends. And man, I sold so many that summer. The only person I did not sell was my dad. That's it. I sold like 40 of these freaking things. And I
Why
thought,
didn't he buy it?
well, because he's a HVAC contractor, and so he had actually a whole house vac before whole house vacs were a thing. He
Ah.
installed it and built it and everything like that. But again, there's no way, like, he's stubborn as fuck like me, so there's no way I was gonna crack that code. It was
Yeah.
more of a practice run for him. But that being said,
He probably wanted you to be okay getting a no
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like he's
Also,
like, I'm teaching you
yeah.
something
Also,
right
our
now.
house was like 99.9% hardwood floors
Ah.
growing up. So it was like, what it's like, why the fuck do I need a vacuum for? Sort of thing. So we had like almost no carpet in the house. But that being said, I sold so many of those because I believed that that vacuum was the fucking top of the line, best thing possible. So I did whatever I had to make deals, cut my commissions. Like, I would do anything I could to make sure that I did not leave with the machine, that it stayed in that person's house. And I did whatever I could. Some days I sold 3 of them and I didn't make a single dime off commission because I gave my commission to them as part of the sale, because I just believed so much that it would help so many people that I was fine with doing it for free at that point. And it's the same in your business. You should be, obviously as a business owner, you can't do shit for free, but you should be fine with knowing that no matter what, even if this person gets it at cost, you've helped that person so much because you believe in your product, so much. And you're absolutely right. People don't want to have someone else pay for a bunch of shit that is actually not going to help them.
Yeah. It makes me think about the why. We started working last year on more of like the Genesis way. It's like the way of doing things and why we're doing things and putting that down on paper. And when we create a big enough why and our teammates know what the why is, it makes it a lot easier to say that's valued at a premium price. Because, you think about weight loss. Sure, you can sell a GLP-1 for a range of price points, but what are we actually providing? It's the dad that gets to sit on the floor and play with his child again, or take their kid out for a walk, or interact in a way that they couldn't before because maybe they just couldn't handle being on the ground, or they had too much weight and it was like getting outside and taking a walk was too hard. So like you're not really selling weight loss, you're selling that time and connection with the child, or even the wife that comes home and feels confident again and saves her marriage because now the husband and the wife are communicating better and relate to each other better, and the wife's confident in who she is, and so she's showing up better for the marriage and the family because she lost weight and she feels good. Like that's why we're doing it, because weight loss is one thing, but it's like, what are we providing to these people's lives that they don't currently have? What is it that they're missing out on that they want? And when we can give them that, there's a lot of value in that. Like, what wouldn't you pay to be able to play with your kids again or to have a great marriage? People go and put, I'm on a little tangent here, but I feel it. So it's like people go and pay for counseling, where you sit and talk about your problems. But it's like, what about taking action towards something that's going to actually, not that those things don't help, because I'm a fan of personal development and counseling or whatever it takes, therapy, whatever. But it's like, but what if we get to the root of maybe what's really going on with the husband and wife and why they're not connecting? Well, maybe that starts with weight loss. And so providing a loving home again, connection, family, like what wouldn't you pay for that? That's what people want. They want love, they want connection, they want acceptance, and that's what we're able to provide. So when people look at it as like, "Oh, we have a GLP-1 we're selling." Yeah, if that's all you think of it as, but if you really think of it as the value that we're creating on the other end, the result, it's like, what wouldn't somebody pay for that?
Exactly.
Like why we're charging 3 or 5,000. Well, I would, pay 3, 4, 5 times that amount to be able to play with my kid or know that I was gonna have a long life and get to see them, grow up. Like, that's important. So I think that's a factor, and I think it's an important one for people to pay attention to. When you're in a service or sales position, what's the end result? Go a couple levels deeper in why you're doing it, and then that's helpful. But going back a little bit, it's like there's this imposter syndrome that happens. And it's like, especially with high achievers, it's like the more you do, the more you go, am I fit for this? Is this, am I speaking the way that it truly feels, or am I faking it? And I think that would be something I'd love your insight on what you think about that.
Well, yeah, no, that's a huge part of it. And no matter what, all high level entrepreneurs have a little bit of that. Like, I don't know if I should charge this because I'm not sure if I'm worth that, and that imposter syndrome. And like, there was a study done at Stanford where the high achieving MBAs that were at Stanford and studying, the ones who actually did the best in all the classes always had the feeling when they were interviewed that they shouldn't be at Stanford. They don't know
Mm.
they belong there and everything. And when I was at Dartmouth, an Ivy League school, obviously I had the same feeling like, do I actually even belong here? Everybody's smarter than me. I mean, my calculus tutor was a fraternity brother of mine, and he would teach me calculus while he was blacked out drunk. He would literally come from the basement drinking, come upstairs, teach me for an hour, like, and he was good, knew everything, and then he'd go back downstairs to drinking again. And I was just sitting there completely sober, stumped. Like, I have no fucking idea how to do this calculus homework. So it's always that, you know, if you're a person of excellence or a good person, it's going to be common to think like, can I really help my customers? But you're absolutely right. People are like, know your worth. That's fucking bullshit. Like, know your worth is stupid. Like, I don't care. Like, everybody's like, know your worth. Because nowadays people come out and they think, well, I'm worth $100,000 a year. You have zero experience. You've done nothing at all of, worthy of that money, and you think that the world should just bow to your every move. No, that's not how the fucking world works. Period.
You have to create value.
You have to create value, and that value is really through the product and the service. That's what it is. We are in a service-based industry. Unless you're a manufacturer of something and you're B2B, even then you're still in a service-based industry. You're still in a people-based business. People still have to buy from you if you're a B2B. If you're a B2C, again, it's customers, clients, they have to buy from you. So you are in a service-based industry. And like you're saying, you have to focus on the fact that your service, your product has to be high quality. It has to be world class. And then when it is that high quality, when it is that world class, or you're getting feedback from your clients and your customers and you're making it better and improving it, and it is better than anything else out there, it gets people results faster, you can demand a higher price. If you have a massive problem or any problem and you can solve it faster and better, people are going to pay you for that, and they'll pay you a premium. That's why people pay $149 a year to Amazon Prime, but they'll still pay $2.99 to get their delivery this afternoon instead of tomorrow, free with Amazon Prime. Like, it's just a faster and faster service that people will pay for. And when you have an amazing product that solves a big problem and it actually delivers, like you're saying, it actually does what the fuck it's supposed to do, you should be okay with charging a premium price. It's just how it is. And people will be okay with paying that premium price because you don't have to convince them at that point. They know, like, hey, if I go this, it's going to be the highest quality. It's going to get me to my results the fastest, and it's going to solve my problem. Like you said, it's going to solve my problem of being able to sit on the ground the fastest that I possibly can with my child. And I'll pay for that 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Another aspect, and I think one way to like what you're talking about here is really ways to combat the anxiety of asking for those premium prices. And, something that comes to mind is when I first got into personal development, I I think it was like $600, like the first course I took. And at the time, I really just didn't have an extra $600 to spend. It was early in my 20s. And quite frankly, I just didn't value personal development enough at that point to pay for it. And so I was like, I don't really need that. And like, is it important for me to spend money on right now? Um, and the I ended up having another guy that was in the program. He couldn't make it, so he said he'd give me his seat. So I didn't end up having to pay for my first course ever, which was fantastic, and I got so much out of it, and it was a life changing experience. But fast forward a few years, when now I was hooked. I'm like, okay, now I really want to start looking into other personal development courses and growing in as an individual. And when I started investing my own money, like what felt like a lot to me at the time, a couple $1,000s for a course or a weekend or a coach or a business coach or whatever, I valued it so much more
Yeah.
because it took a lot for me to, one, make it, and then two, to take that money and go, okay, now I'm going to take what I worked for and really just invest it in me. Like what I have to show for isn't going to be something tangible,
Mhm.
but it's going to be something lasting, and to see the value of that. And so there's definitely a correlation between what people pay and how much they pay and how much they value what they paid for. It's like if you get given a course, are you going to be as in tune with it and get as much out of it as if you were to pay for it for yourself?
Yeah.
And I think I think for the most part the answer is you don't value it the same.
No.
So when people are paying premium pricing and it hurts maybe just a little
Yeah.
with like being just beyond what they feel comfortable spending, they're going to take it way more serious.
Absolutely. That's actually and I've told the story before, but when I got into the Arate Syndicate and started this whole real journey of entrepreneurship, that was $50,000 a year, which for me, I mean, putting that into myself, that was a huge amount of fucking money. And so when I talked to Steph and she said, yeah, do it. And I did it, man, I was like locked in. I was like, I am not going to waste this $50,000. I'm going to make sure I do like soak up everything they say, write down every word they say, implement every word they say. And obviously, on the opposite side, though, they delivered.
Mm.
So when you are paying a service or a price, that premium price and that premium for that premium service, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you better make fucking sure that you are delivering because nowadays people are going to just burn you to the ground. They won't come back. If they can get a same or similar service at another place for 50% off, 20% off, or even 10% off, they're going to go somewhere else. So if they're going to invest in themselves, buying, purchasing from you, you better make sure that you're going to deliver on the backside of that. And that's just, part of obviously having a very good service. But you're right in that people sometimes the only way to convince people that something is worth more is to really just charge a higher price. And there's a
Mhm.
great parable, and I think every entrepreneur has heard this parable somehow or another, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but there's a story of the old antique shop owner who wants to go on vacation and he hires his niece to come in and watch the shop for him while he's gone. And he hasn't sold anything. It's full of, antiques, hasn't sold anything in years. He just has the old shop and he leaves, goes on vacation. He tells her, just open the shop, sit here, don't do anything, don't worry about it. It's okay if you don't sell anything. I'm still going to pay you. Well, he comes back and everything in the store is sold. Everything. And he's like, what the hell? What did you do? Like, what happened? Like, how did you sell all this? She's like, oh, well, I just increased the prices on everything. And people perceived it to be more expensive,
Mm.
to be like luxurious. And they all came in and bought it. And it's the same thing with Skechers. No, Payless Shoe Store. Payless Shoe Store did a social experiment where they made up a fake brand, this luxury brand. They put up a fake retail store inside a mall, a strip mall, and they priced their shoes, their Payless shoes, at like $500, put really nice acrylic and backlighting and stuff like that all throughout this store, had a store like grand opening. All these influencers came, bought the shoes. They were taking pictures and photos and videos saying, oh, I just got these shoes, blah, blah, blah. These are like, Payless shoes, $9 shoes that were like $550. They charged them. And then they released the study afterwards showing it. And again, all these, they got, like, they didn't get backlash, but like all the people who went in there and paid and everything got massive backlash. Or they tried to backlash, Payless and like sue them or whatever. But it was an obvious social experiment. It was a whole point that Payless had made, that there is no point in buying or pretending to be designer this or designer that. You're still going to get the same fucking thing. But because people perceived it, again, to be more expensive, they paid more money. And it's got to be with your business as well. I'm not saying sell Payless level quality stuff, but I am saying that when people perceive your business to be high end, when they perceive it to be 5-star, to be Ritz-Carlton-esque, they're going to pay more. And they're going to want to pay more because they're going to get that experience, that feeling. Because that's what everybody is chasing, is just that feeling.
Yeah, well, going to the experience. I think about times that I've shopped at regular, I guess, department stores to buy shoes. And then times that I've went to Balenciaga or Hermes or Ferragamo and I've bought shoes there. And it's the experience that makes the difference. Why do I pay 3, 4, 5 times as much for a pair of sandals from one location to another? And it's because, like you said, the displays, the backlighting, the presentation, the experience, do you want a glass of champagne while you're shopping? Like those little things make a huge difference and create that wow factor, which makes me feel good about spending 3, 4, 5 times as much on a pair of sandals. And it's creating that experience in our clinics. And that's, as we embrace the Ritz-Carlton mindset at Genesis, that's what we're creating, is the wow factor. When people walk in, from the time they open that door, what's their experience? What are they seeing? What are they feeling? What are they smelling? Their full experience, start to finish. How fast are they getting their medications? Like, all of the service part is definitely a huge factor, but there's also details in the process that we continue to roll out as a company, which makes the pricing even that much more valuable to the customers. So they don't mind spending more on what they're getting.
Right. And at the beginning, we could not afford all those things. We couldn't afford the beautiful marble floors and the backlit countertops and shit like that, which you don't have to do, guys. And I've said that at the beginning. But as you are improving and as Genesis has grown, we have the money to do it now. Now we are elevating our look. We are elevating our feel so that people see that we've always had the high quality medications, the high quality customer service. But now, again, that adds to their perception when they walk in and they say, okay, this is definitely a high quality place. It smells great. The walls are nice. The lighting is perfect. There's beautiful signage that's congruent with our message. Otherwise, when they walk in and your clinic looks like an absolute pigsty, it isn't clean, it's old, it's got carpet from the 1980s and colored brown walls, they're not going to perceive what they're getting as having a great value at all. So the result is they won't buy it because they don't see the benefits of it at all. So you're doing your customers a favor by pricing your product to be congruent with actually what you're delivering to them. So again, if we had a high level clinic that was beautiful with, again, marble and white walls and gold sconces, and we sold it for $5,000 and it was a shit ass product that never got anybody anywhere, the business would not survive. It just wouldn't, because in the world of social media and public perception and everything, everybody would fucking tell everyone about our business and how much it sucks. But that's not the case. We have nicer clinics and they get great customer service and over the top quality of products. And as a result of that, We've got tens of thousands, 5-star reviews and people coming back and recommending their friends. And that's what you have to do. You have to sell on the backside very high quality stuff to your clients. And if they have to pay a premium for it, so what? You're delivering that service.
Yeah, it's so great you touched on five-star reviews because that's my head went two places. The fact that our product works and people are happy with what they're getting, which is why we have so many five-star reviews. But then taking it in even a step further with what we're doing now with our teams and the look of the team and people being in black scrubs and everybody looking the part and that presentation of the actual person that they're talking to in the clinic also being an important factor. And that, as we've refined some of the Genesis way, that's something newer that we're doing where, the sales staff has to look a certain way or we encourage them to look a certain way. And then our providers are now all, matching in nice uh, single color scrubs and the clinic itself has a very cohesive look, including the actual people working in it.
No, you're absolutely right. So from the front of the clinics to the back of the clinics, everybody is going to perceive your clinic like they perceive anybody that they're meeting for the first time. And I encourage business owners, no matter what type of business you have, if you have a brick and mortar, walk into your clinic with the eye of being completely new, but at the same time, very hypercritical. Be the Anton Ego in Ratatouille and be, just mad about everything and point out dirty floors or scuffed walls or look at the ceiling. I always tell my staff, look up because nobody ever fucking looks at the ceiling, but your clients always do. Do you have tiles that are weird or off or have stains or light bulbs that are out? Or is the art not really matching in what your clinic feel is? And how do the staff look? Do they look all disheveled? Are they well put together? Are they wearing different things? Have a very critical eye for your own business and write all those things down and then fix them, improve them. Have that public appearance of when people walk in, they say, oh, wow, this is a really nice place. Everybody's dressed very nice. Everybody's well put together. And it is just going to elevate your value, the value of your company. It will 100% do that. And I get it. Everybody nowadays is like, oh, well, everybody can be themselves and do their own thing and individualize and stuff like that. And yes, I agree to a degree. But when you walk into a business, you're supposed to be the culture of that business, live the way that business lives, dress the way that business dresses, etc. Nobody walks into, let's say, a lawyer's office wearing jean shorts and a cutoff T-shirt, thinking that they're going to be able to properly defend. Is their brain still the same? Yes. Is the way that they act still the same? Yes. However, it's going to be a perception, and I didn't really realize this until later on in business because it was like, well, I don't care what I wear, etc. It doesn't make a big difference. But there was a study done that I talk about in Genesis a few times when it comes to retail, where they had the same salesperson on the floor and they dressed that salesperson in all designer, very high-end things. And then they had a bunch of, customers come and talk to them and ask them questions about what they were doing and their clothing and stuff like that. And then they had that same salesperson just dressed in regular street clothes, relaxed, didn't look very professional, and had the same customers come back and talk to them. And obviously they were disguised, so they didn't recognize them. And 70% of the customers believed that when the employee was dressed up, that dressed up employee knew more and was more intelligent than that same employee dressed in the street clothes.
Wow. Wow. And so that is such a big factor. And if you have a clinic or a product service-based business, making sure your sales staff feels the part because there is some energy that gets presented if somebody has on a nice outfit or is put together. So it's going to be a lot easier for them to ask for the sale and ask for the sale of something that is a higher price point. Going back to this whole conversation, how do you get comfortable with it? Well, you got to make sure people feel like they can ask for it with confidence. And so making sure your staff feels the part, like, yes, the building and yes, the experience, but also the individual has this sense of elevated, value, I guess is what I would say. Because if they feel valued in what they look like and feel like they're going to have a much easier time asking for those higher price points.
You're 100% right. And with that higher, really high quality, high dollar products, high dollar service, you're going to do yourself a favor as a business owner. And you're going to eliminate most of the time the people you don't want in your business. And when you ask entrepreneurs, to increase prices by 20%, most of them will shake at that idea or be like, oh my God, I can't, like, what am I going to do? Or increase your prices by 50%. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, guess what? If you increase your prices by 20%, who are the people who you're going to eliminate that won't like buy your service anymore? Well, it's going to be the bottom 20% of people, the people who always want a deal, the people usually who complain the most, et cetera. And when you ask business owners, like, are you worried about losing those clients? And they really think about it, they realize that 80% of their time is focused on the 20% of the bottom level clients that literally complain about everything, always want a sale price, always have issues with their service or whatever, but they're still sticking around. Eliminate those people. I mean, Alex Hormozy did it in a company that he acquired. He increased the prices by 50%, and they only had a 30% drop in customers. Well, guess what? They're still 20% up in revenue. And that's what people don't understand. Okay, if I increase my prices by 20% and I lose 20% of customers, well, then the 80% that's left over, I'm making the same amount of money treating 8 clients instead of 10 clients. And guess what? For those 8 clients, I can increase my level of service because the extra time that I was spending, which is usually like, again, 80-20 or 50-50 even, that extra time trying to placate the 20% can be put into that 80% to give them the next level of customer service. And it was the same thing with Alex when he said, oh, well, we increased our prices by 50%. We dropped by 30%. Well, guess what? Now they're still 70% up or 20% up above where they were before with 30% less clients, which means they provide way more value and way more customer service to those people, and you're going to make more money. So it's going to be tough to hear, but it's the truth. You're going to save yourself a lot of headaches by increasing your price or having a premium price, because all the people who are trying to price shop are not people who are going to be around in 12 months, 24 months, et cetera, because you're cheapening your business. And I'm not saying people who can't afford high dollar items are absolutely worthless human beings. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you have a high quality product, if you have a high quality service, and you solve a high quality problem, well, guess what? You should demand a high quality price. And your business isn't for everybody. Genesis is not for everyone. It's for as many people as we possibly can. Yeah, we try and help everyone, but not everybody can afford our services, and that's just business. Sorry.
What do you feel like you do in the company to help when maybe a sales associate is thinking with their own pocket? Like what kind of tools can you give or have you given our teams to make sure people feel aligned with what they're asking for as far as price point goes?
I feel like you know the answer to that, and you just asked me a layup question. What the fuck are you asking, Amanda? What are you telling? What has Genesis done?
Well, I'm thinking about, some of the things that we've done at
Okay.
our corporate events.
Yeah. You're
Like
being super fucking vague. Get to the point.
getting to the Ritz-Carlton mindset.
There you go.
And taking them to five-star experiences so they
Okay.
can see and have the experience of what it's like to be treated with excellence, so that they can, getting them out of the office, giving them an experience, giving them some principles, helping them in those corporate events to see the bigger picture, and then taking all of that energy and vigor back into the clinic with them. Like that was one of the things I was thinking that you've done, because I've been a part of that. But I'm yeah, so that's what I was asking, but I
Yeah.
answered my own question,
Yeah,
so there
there
we
you
go.
go. It's okay. You're a co-host. That doesn't
Why
mean you
what
just have to ask questions and let me answer them. But no, what she's talking about is our corporate events for EOS. We have them twice a year in person, and we do that. Brent and I try and book 5-star resorts. We go to high-end restaurants, and we do things that they normally wouldn't be able to spend their money on. Our staff members, not only to treat them and reward them, but also to show them, hey, this is the next level of service that we want to bring. This is what the 5-star feeling is. This is how you should feel when you walk into our clinics and pick up. We always tell people, if you go to a great restaurant or if you go to a hotel somewhere and you like something that they do and you're like, oh, that's different. That's cool. I wouldn't have thought that a hotel or a business would do that. Bring it back to Genesis. We can try and roll it out if it makes sense. Obviously, we're not handing out gold bullion at the front desk, but if there's a certain scent, we're going to try and do that at some point, like a Genesis scent, because they can custom make those things. Or if there's a certain music, or if there's all these different moods, mood lighting and crap like that we can do. There's a lot that you can do in your business to make it more high end, but doesn't cost you a ton of money. And so we encourage that of our staff, and we show them like, hey, this is what other 5-star companies do around the world, and stealing from other companies and what they do really well is what you should always be doing.
Well, they probably did that too.
Yeah, absolutely. They stole it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's no new ideas for the most part. It's just recycled other ideas or improved upon ideas. And that's definitely something you should be doing 100% of the time to make your experience much, much better. To make the client's experience much, much better when they're going through your company.
Which just makes it easier to ask for those premium price points.
Yep, absolutely it is. I have a very good friend who's a dentist, and he's very, very successful dentist, and he has a great phrase to kind of close this. He says, you have to charge what you're worth, or you will become worth what you charge.
Wow.
And I thought that was an awesome phrase. And he does it. He does multiple speaking engagements. He has a very high level dental practice, and he teaches a lot of dental practices how to do it. And I thought his name is Jim McCrate. So shout out Jim. He's a huge, Arte, and he's in Arte, and he's a huge Andy Frisella fan. But he had that great phrase, and he pours that into his staff, and that we are a high level service. He's a high level service. We do high level things. People take their extra money, like you said, that you did with investing in yourself, and they invest it in us. I mean, they spend money that they earned, hours that they earned. Essentially, that's like them, if you really think about it, working for us. Like, they spent all the time at this job, and they took all the money that they got from that job and gave it to us for us to perform a service. I mean, that's a huge fucking honor. People don't think about it that way as a business. Like, we're not an insurance-based business where it's like they can come to us for quote unquote free because they're already paying for this insurance and they might as well go use it. Fuck it. No, they're using the extra money that they have that they can spend on anything. They can spend it on Netflix or reading books or taking their kid to Disneyland or Six Flags or a different experience or a night at the movies or food for themselves. They could spend it on anything, but they came and spent it with us. So you have to think about that and be humble enough to think, wow, that's fucking amazing that you spent your money on me. You spent your money on us, with us. And as a result, you better fucking bring the heat when it comes to delivering for that client. And it's okay if you charge what you're worth. Otherwise, you'll become worth what you charge.